a cup that we could like continue to have instead of like throw away. Anyway,
Hi, friends.
Hello.
hi friends.
Welcome to Friends of Disney, where we are friends who talk about Disney. And if you're new to our podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe to us and check us out on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
You know, I just realized something.
What up?
And this whole thing of the intro, we never introduced ourselves too.
Yeah, I know it is.
Hi, I'm Megan.
I'm Jonelle.
I'm Sean.
He's my husband.
She's my wife.
I'm friend.
It's not even just like a casual friend. Janelle's practically family at this point.
You know,
Well-
I'm that family friend.
You know that like one audio that gets like used on a lot of like shorts and reels. There's like, it's just you and I and you and our friend Steve.
Steve.
I am Steve. Steve is me, but I am not Steven.
No, that's something else.
Jonelle, what are we talking about today?
Alice in Wonderland.
Both of them.
Well, 2 out of the 3.
Yes.
Well, the third one is a true sequel,
Yes.
but this isn't going to be a typical live versus animation comparison because, which if you haven't seen our last live versus animations, check them out. We did them on the live action Lady and the Tramp and the live action Beauty and the Beast in comparison with their animated counterparts. But we can't do the same kind of structure for this video because they're 2 different movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Same title, 2 different movies. And it's different source material. Did you know that?
I did not.
So, the Alice in Wonderland from 1951, the animated one, was based off of the Alice in Wonderland books.
Mm-hmm.
But the live action from 2010, starring Johnny Depp, actually isn't based necessarily on those books. It was built out of a poem by the same person that was called, it was like the poem of like the Jabberwock or Jabberwocky. And there's that scene where the Mad Hatter's walking with Alice through the forest before you like get the flashback, and he's talking like really weird, creepy way, and it sounds like gibberish almost and doesn't make sense. That's the poem. And it like he's like reciting the poem, and it like is where they get a lot of like, that's where they got the Bandersnatch or the Vorpal sword. That's where it was mentioned and stuff. So Tim Burton based off of more of that poem and even put it in there versus the Alice in Wonderland from 1951 that was based off of the books.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, don't quote me on this, but I remember hearing a quote that Tim Burton wanted like a direction to go with the story because the original Alice in Wonderland is
There was no direction with
yeah, it's called nonsense fiction. So, fun fact, I actually read the original Alice in Wonderland. Um and the animated follows the book pretty well. But like everything and nothing really happens in Alice in Wonderland.
It just jumps around from like story to story to story. It's not really a clear, concise plot.
And like from beginning to end, Alice doesn't learn anything. So like if you took the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie and spliced them together without her going to Wonderland, nothing has changed. But Tim Burton was like, no, I want Alice to like
have a mission.
So that's why the live action versus the animated are so different.
Mm-hmm. Which do you prefer?
Well, okay, so honestly, the first one, when I first watched Alice in Wonderland, it was actually the live action one.
Me too.
And then
Actually, same.
then during COVID time when Disney Plus first came out, then I watched the animated one. And yeah, I was disappointed in the story of the animated one because there was no mission. And psychologists use this a lot, and business uses this a lot.
Really?
People want a story.
Oh. Oh, that makes sense.
Marketing, when they're pitching something to you, they're trying to give you a story. It's why football commercial ads generally have a story.
Well, and I think I guess goes to like showing that like there was one small difference between the book and the movie that changes the perspective entirely. Because the movie was Alice in Wonderland, but the book was Alice's Adventures
Hmm.
in Wonderland,
By Lewis Carroll.
which just that small change alone changes the point of view of what you're going into because it's like the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh. They're a bunch of short stories. If you were to say that this movie's not Alice in Wonderland, it's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, all of those little segments make sense. But it's just Alice in Wonderland, and off you go.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed when I watched the animated one again last night. Um,
We watched it last night too.
Yes, because Sean and I were like, which one do you want to watch first? And I was like, I want to watch the
I watched the animated one
first.
first.
Yeah,
Same.
the animated one first. Sorry, I all of
Watched
a
the live
sudden,
action one this
yeah.
earlier today.
Oh, I watched the live action one right after that.
Interesting.
We had to get to bed.
Yeah.
It was a Saturday. I had nothing better to do with my time than to sit and be a couch potato. And I was also crocheting a really cute donut.
It was super
It
cute.
is cute.
It looks like a bear. It was supposed to be a hippo, but it's cute.
It's very cute.
So, fun story about Alice in Wonderland. You're probably gonna go, oh no. So, back in COVID times, like me and Megan would talk about like when we were heading down the idea of actually having a wedding before we got married, because we got married at the courthouse. When we were actually talking about like
Oh, Janelle was there too.
I was the best man.
Hmm.
when we were actually like talking about if we were to have like an actual wedding, what would it be like? We decided on Alice in Wonderland. That's why my ring says we're all mad here.
I have a ring, but it's a size too big or a size too small,
Like half a size too big.
so it constantly flies off.
But so we've enjoyed the aesthetic of Alice in Wonderland to like be able to theme it. More specifically, the animated one. We like the aesthetic of the animated one more than the live action.
Okay, real question. Which Cheshire cat freaks you out the most?
Freaks you out? Freaks me out.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the animated version.
Same.
He has like this hypnotic. I know it's like Winnie the Pooh, and like that's great.
And Ka.
And like that voice actor is great, but just the way he speaks when he's Cheshire is like so hypnotizing, and like how he fades in and out.
It just also looks creepier
Oh yeah.
in the picture.
Oh yeah, 100%. Uh-huh.
Like, I find Tim Burton style type of cat kind of cute.
Right, it's the big
Like, as demonic as it is looking, it's cute.
it's cute, yes.
See, I don't think either really creep me out. I think it's just that I'm really used to the animated Cheshire Cat. But because
Sorry, I'm thinking about his whole the white rabbit went this way speech that he gives Alice.
see, the Cheshire Cat, I think that, okay, so this points to the differences between the two movies. Because Tim Burton strove for that plot line and like overall development.
But there
All the
was-
characters had more personality to them.
Yeah.
Like in Cheshire Cat was a little more mischievous, like, oh, I really like your hat and stuff like, and he was cute and more playful. But the Cheshire Cat in the animated was he made sense for for the environment that the animated was in because nothing made sense. He didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
He was a trickster like in the animated one, but
In the live action one.
yeah, that one. Words are hard. Going back and forth between animated and live action. Ugh. But he's chaotic neutral to the extreme, I feel like. He's very chaotic neutral.
He's just creepy, though.
He is a little
That's all I'm saying, is he's creepy.
Creepy looking.
Yeah.
I can see that. I'm just used to him. But I just find it interesting, like how like they're different, but it makes sense for the worlds that they're in.
I will say, like, if we are going to say, like, talk about story plots, the animated one, if you're really trying to find a story plot in it, though, Alice looking for the white rabbit.
That is the
Yes.
entire story.
And she's just looking for it because she's curious to where it's going.
But that
And then wakes up.
Mm-hmm.
that whole ending sequence feels like a fever dream because it doesn't make sense. It's just weird how it's just yeah. I know the whole thing was like, oh yeah, she was dreaming or whatever. But at the same time, I'm like, she went all of that way and somehow just started running and the whole world turns purple and whatnot. And she's looking at herself through the mouth of a doorknob. I'm like, mm.
Maybe it's one of those things where because like they were outside and like even though they were at a tree, maybe it's possible she was getting heat stroke.
Yes. And like, I don't think you remember my days in college. I used to have super vivid dreams.
I mean, yeah. This is coming from someone who doesn't have very many dreams. Like, I don't typically like have dreams that I remember. If I do, it's a rarity.
I was the type of person where I had two friends in college that were neither of these two, by the way. Um,
Is it the one we shall not name?
no, different one.
Ah,
His name was Connor and my friend Sarah, where I would tell them my dreams daily because I would go to bed and it would have like it would just be crazy and I would wake up and tell them both. Yeah.
my dreams have gotten funnier as I am aging because now my dreams are just things I would do in my everyday life. Like I have dreams of going in the office and doing the same work that I do every day.
Oh my goodness.
I would rather not dream about my work.
Is it sad to say I kind of enjoyed it because it was numbers?
You're such a nerd.
So before this, I went on a little rant about how I like numbers, if you guys are wondering.
It was very enjoyable.
But like it wasn't like office Karen vibes though, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
Like the dreams were often like I was working on a project of like an actual project I'm working on at work and like I was actually able to deep dive into the things I wanted to.
Mm.
Um,
Sorry, I have no response to that.
Yeah, last night I had a dream I ran a donut shop, but every donut I had to make was based off of like the person's personality. And so I had a Karen walk in screaming, and so hers was full of like hot sauce.
the fire doodle donut.
Yep. It was great. Every single donut I made had to match the personality of the person who bought it, and it was awful.
See, I didn't have any dreams last night. Sorry.
Go check on the baby.
It's about time for him to wake up.
Well, Casper Jr. is waking up, but on continuance of Alice in Wonderland.
Yes.
Okay, I like the Jabberwocky.
Yes, he has such a cool design. Casper Jr. looks so angry.
Sorry, you mentioned the Jabberwocky. No, so
Can you fix Casper Jr.'s ear?
Could we hide Casper Jr. because of the bear suit?
And just have him facing me?
he doesn't like that typically. Casper Jr. is our child, if you don't know. But no, so you bring up the Jabberwocky.
Yes.
Fun fact: I don't know what the Jabberwocky would actually be classified as. So here's the thing.
I like to think
I-
of the Jabberwocky as like a dragon.
Here's the
Yes.
problem. Here's the problem. This is a common mistake. Not every dragon-like creature is a dragon.
Sometimes it's a wyvern.
Yes, and I don't know which the Jabberwocky falls into for a unique reason. Because wyverns have 2 legs
Mm-hmm.
and their wings, and typically their wings act like they're other legs to help them like walk and stuff like that, as well as fly. Dragons have 4 legs and wings. The Jabberwocky has 2 legs, arms, and his wings. He uses his wings to walk, but he does have 4 appendages that he can also walk on. So I don't know how he would be classified.
According to the internet, the Jabberwocky's a dragon.
Everyone says it's a dragon, but it's dragon versus wyvern.
Okay, hold up.
Because not a lot of people follow the
What
classification.
dragon class is the Jabberwocky from Alice in Wonderland?
He-
I found this on the web for what dragon class is the Jabberwocky from Alice in Wonderland? Check it out.
Thanks, Siri.
Siri's the best.
No, as I was researching this earlier, but it's like right in between the 2 definitions. Because not a lot of like people like media follow the source material of like what's a wyvern versus what's a dragon.
A dragon whiskered fish-like head,
Mm-hmm.
insect antenna,
Mm.
and a pair of talon-like hands on both its arms and its wings. It may also serve as 4 legs when it walks on the ground. It presumably lived in the dark forest.
Just walk over.
Sorry for for just blocking camera like that. I wanted to give a hug to Casper Jr.
Casper Jr. so cute.
Mm-hmm.
He's a widow bear. Megan's mom mode activated.
Bye, Casper Jr.
Casper Jr. instantly keeps staring at Megan.
Hi, little one.
Just like, you took me away from mom.
Hi.
One thing I was disappointed in the live action versus the animation was that I really enjoy the animated's music.
Yes, the music. I don't know.
It's fun.
I like the songs about the roses. I don't like Alice's singing voice.
That's okay.
This is something I was like paying attention to with the animated. Does Alice sound like Snow White or Cinderella?
Neither. I can tell you who she is.
Who?
I told you.
Who?
It's Wendy from Peter Pan.
Oh,
Now, the real thing that's going to blow your mind, ready? The Queen of Hearts is Fairy Godmother. And Flora from Sleeping Beauty.
because seriously, the whole time during the animated, I was just like, gosh, this sounds like Cinderella.
It's Wendy.
Sorry, sleep regression's hard.
Wendy.
I think Casper Jr. wants to speak in on this.
What do you think? What do you think, Casper?
Oh.
He just kind of looked at the microphone.
I know you guys can't see Casper Jr. and this is something that Sean and Megan decided, and this was also something we kind of proposed before Casper Jr. was born, was essentially, would you want the internet to see Casper Jr.?
And we decided no.
Which is why I'm off camera holding a baby, but you can still hear my voice. Creepy.
Oh, speaking of creepy. Okay. The live action with the heads in the pool blood.
Yes, thank you for someone
Or-
saying that.
Poor King. Like, I think about the animated King and how cute he was, and then just to see him down there, I was like, oh.
Not gonna lie, I kind of liked the scene.
I mean, it was a really cool scene of like Alice, like
Like, as creepy as it is, looking at floating heads in blood, like, at least this one wasn't as disturbing as like some horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So this was like a more acceptable.
You know what? I will take the floating heads in the pool of blood over the clams getting eaten any day.
That story is so sad. I'm happy that didn't really get mentioned. Like, out of all like the references, like the animated that they pulled, like the dodo bird was there, White Rabbit, Absalom, voiced by Snape.
Sorry, I just want to see him hold a bear with him in a bear. But I definitely want it back.
Um,
That is so cute.
in the painting the roses red scene.
Aw,
Sorry.
it's okay.
Yeah, like they showed like Alice painting the roses red, like,
Yes.
and like they showed like all these different animals, like the dormouse, which I kind of am sad that the dormouse wasn't more like
Hammered.
yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Like she was feisty, don't get me wrong, and I liked it, but I'm at the same time like the dormouse in the animated was so cute.
Okay, I want your honest opinion, both of you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Hamish? Like, if you were Alice, would you marry Hamish?
He's too pale.
Everyone is pale in that movie.
Okay, but like
Alice and the White Queen.
he makes Casper look like he's been in the sun.
That's what your dad says about me.
I know.
Sorry, I thought you were gonna add more on to that. I would not marry Hamish.
He's just a prick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That whole I I think the whole aesthetic of like when they're not in like Wonderland is really interesting. It's just so pale. Everything is so pale. And I don't know how I feel
It's
about it.
desaturated.
Very.
It's kind of like in Twilight, where everything is just green. Everything
Blue.
is just
It was blue.
blue. Everything's so
blue.
pale. And then you get to Wonderland, and then it's not like super bright, but there's more color. It's more vivid.
It's more vibrant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Weird thing. Did you guys notice what? So we always watch it with subtitle. Always watch things with subtitles in case there's like noise or whatever, or we just want the sound off so we can still read it.
Oh, and in Pokemon, you can tell what the Pokemon are feeling.
So
There's subtitles. Yeah, sorry.
in the
We
live
watch Pokemon.
action, every time one of the like people from Wonderland referred to Wonderland, they weren't saying Wonderland.
It was Underland.
It was Underland. Which I find really interesting that it's only Wonderland to Alice, but it's completely different there. I don't know. It's just weird. It's something I caught.
Also, I thought the concept of Alice coming to the realization that the world was real and that she had told the Mad Hatter.
I wish that was a bigger moment.
Yeah.
Like
I almost cried.
Hmm?
I almost cried the first time I watched that.
Well, like that realization with Absalom.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that was that was done a little bit differently to have more of an impact. Like it just felt weirdly placed with such a fast turnaround to like, oh yeah, I wasn't. You see the flashbacks and then it's 10 for battle and I win and I go home.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wish there was more.
But if we're going to go off of the sequel, you do see Alice and the Mad Hatter have more of that serious, intimate moment of realization.
Yeah, I love Alice's like connection to the Mad Hatter.
It's so precious.
It's so precious, and I'm glad they didn't make it like romantic. It's just like purely platonic, purely just like I don't know.
Well, not gonna lie, the non-ace person here.
Oh no.
When I first watched it, I seriously thought it would have like turned into something romantic.
I can see that. I couldn't. I just can't see them as a couple given their characters.
And that Alice is always destined to return. back to the real, like, not Wonderland,
Mm-hmm.
the real world, I guess.
I don't know. It's really weird just looking at these two different movies. Like, they're just so starkingly different.
But they're good movies.
They're good movies
Yes.
for different reasons.
I
Eh.
still definitely prefer the live action one.
I agree. I tend to like watching things with a story.
With a marketing's perspective.
Yes, but I think another reason I really like Alice in Wonderland is I had a tradition with myself that I would watch Alice in Wonderland before every finals during spring semester. Um, I remember freshman year, I wrote on a sticky note that that quote about believing in six impossible things before breakfast, and I put it on my dresser. So when I would wake up, I would see it first thing. Um, and so that way I would like believe that I could like pass my finals. Yeah.
The only thing I personally wish, and you get a glimpse of it in the sequel, Alice Through the Looking Glass, is that I just don't. I miss the vibrancy of Wonderland. Like something I love about the animated one is just that Wonderland is so vibrant in
And
color.
colorful.
And like you see a little bit in the Alice Through the Looking Glass when she like goes through time, because like during one of the tea party scenes or whatever, you
Mhm.
see it's like full of color, and I understand that like it's darker because one, it's a Tim Burton movie, but also like this is like the Red Queen's rule and everything sucks. But I'm like, I like that Wonderland where it's just bright and fun.
This
Kind
sounds
of
really
like,
weird, but I really liked the White Queen's potion making.
oh my gosh, yes,
The touch of spit added at the end.
I love how she's just like so flouncy, like just so
And this shows that Anna Hathaway is like the destined.
White Queen, yes. I love it. I love it. I love her in that role.
Mm-hmm. Anne Hathaway is just such a great actress. They had a lot of like notable actors in this movie. I mean, Helena Bonham Carter playing the Red Queen. Alan Rickman, aka Severus Snape, was Absalom, the Caterpillar. They had, I don't know her name, but she plays Madame Maxine in Harry Potter. She's
Yes.
like
Yes, I
the
know who you're talking about.
from Beauxbaton's Academy. She's in the movie as well.
Yeah.
They have Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter.
Which Johnny Depp is like, besides Pirates of the Caribbean, like he gets put into the two categories of Pirates in the Caribbean and Tim Burton movies or dark movies. Did Tim Burton create, well, okay. So before this became a movie, it was like originally a TV show and it was called Dark Shadows.
Dark Shadows has a movie. Yeah, is a movie. Yeah.
Well, yes, but it was also a TV show. And the TV show was in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And it went on for like 8 series.
Mm-hmm. 8 seasons.
Yeah, with a lot of episodes. But anyway, I think it was 8. You guys can fact check me on that. But it felt like a lot because I just remember watching episode on episode. But anyways, then obviously there were 2 movies that came out for Dark Shadows, similar to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory type of thing. And then the last one, I think it was the last one, was the one with Johnny Depp. Is that one a Tim Burton movie?
For what specifically?
Dark Shadows.
You can Google
I
it.
think Dark Shadows was a Tim Burton movie.
Because Johnny Depp is like kind of known for like the Tim Burton-esque.
See, the thing is, I always have a hard time recognizing Johnny Depp because his costumes are always just so different. Like the fact that Mad Hatter, Willy Wonka, and Jack Sparrow are the
But like
same
they
person.
always have like this dark-esque type of,
Yeah.
yeah, like darker color toned to the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it was 5 seasons and it was made in 1966. And then there was the 2012 film of Dark Shadows, which
Was directed by
Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Wow. So I guess this is proving that well, now Jenna Ortega is like the new
Tim Burton gal.
yeah, because maybe it was the whole Amber Heard and Johnny Depp situation, but now Jenna Ortega is like the new Tim Burton style.
Johnny Depp is just incredible. Really. I'm gonna let you guys run this. He's getting heavy, so I need to.
Okay. Well, now it's me and Megan,
Yo.
and we're gonna take this in a whole new direction.
Oh yeah. Let's see.
A whole new world.
A whole new direction for the podcast. Hey. Okay. Why?
Copyright infringement. Okay. We're not licensed or sponsored by Disney, by the way. Yeah.
The real question is, what part of Wonderland would you want to see if you're like a tourist? Like what place in Wonderland would you be like, I want to go there?
Oh gosh. Honestly, I think the Queen of Hearts Palace.
Oh, that'd be really interesting. For me, it's the Mad Tea Party.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just classic.
I also don't want pots or pans thrown at me.
That's a good point.
I feel like I could take on more neglect, and like I feel like I could better take the queen's neglect in her castle than having a teapot thrown at me or a saucer.
That's fair. That's fair.
Which sounds really weird, but you know.
Oh, actually, I would want to go visit where, like inside the clock and through the looking glass, the Time's home, the fort, Time Fortress.
Okay, actually, no. The real place I want to go is the dog. Remember, she gives the dog thing his eye back?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Bandersnatch.
I will spend all day with the Bandersnatch and we'll become best buddies and I'll snuggle him.
Okay, sounds good. Sean loves the Tweedles. We used to call our cats the Tweedles.
I call my siblings the Tweedles too.
Apparently, Sean just calls everyone the Tweedles.
I feel like for me, it was like thing one and thing two, you know, more of a Dr. Seuss thing.
You see, I didn't really care for any of those. I just really love Alice. Especially live action Alice. I think she's just really interesting in the way that she thinks.
Well, I like the ending too, where Alice is taking on her entrepreneur side and really thinking about global expansion with products and beginning this trade system that's going to allow products to be moved around from one country to another.
I love in the second movie, there's a scene where she's like back at home and she's wearing this elaborate outfit from China and she's going to like Hamish's house for some reason. There's a party. And her mother's like, "What are you wearing, Alice?" And Alice is like, if it's good enough for the Queen of China, it's good enough for Hamish." And that's the confidence I want to see from my main characters. That's it. Sean, anything you want to add?
About what?
Anything?
I don't have my mic, but I'm not a fan of the live action Alice.
Sean is not a fan of the live action Alice, ladies
All
and
right.
gentlemen, and
Tell us
non-binary
why.
humans.
I don't like.
Sean does not like.
Trying to figure out the right word. I'm not a fan of how like lethargic she always seems.
Oh, kind of like ill looking.
Not just ill looking, but like the way she like talks and everything is just very like lethargic like and very
Sean does not like how Alice looks lethargic like and how she looks like she's kind of not taking care of herself in a way.
she's not expressive. She's defensive as all hell.
I mean,
Hey Nova, can we get out of the recording box?
so Sean doesn't like how lethargic she is and like how defensive she is. And I actually kind of like that about Alice's character. And from when she was young, we learned about her like really like horrible nightmares that would keep her up at night. And we learned throughout the movie that like this is a constant thing where she isn't sleeping. And I don't know about you, Sean, but we haven't been sleeping much either. Because we have this thing called the baby. Um, and so I feel more lethargic and I feel more defensive these days. Um,
Well, so I'm back on the mic.
do you want me to take Casper Jr. while you defend your
Casper
honor?
Jr. is
Well,
wide awake.
Here's the thing. When I say I'm not a fan of her, here's the thing. When it comes to her sleeping, she doesn't say specifically nightmares. It's the same dreams over and over.
No, at the beginning,
When she's a little girl, she says she has a nightmare.
yeah.
But then when she's an adult, she does say it's the same dream over and over.
Mm-hmm. And she has
But we end up learning that those dreams are her adventures in Wonderland, which after meeting the Red Queen, do you blame her? And stuff.
At one point, though, were her dreams changing? Because, like, if this was a one nightmare and then it was reoccurring adventures in Wonderland, how I kind of wonder is when did these dreams start morphing into, like, essentially, when did the evil queen become evil in her dreams? When did this change of authority begin to alter her dreams? Because it's present that when she actually does show up into Wonderland, that sides have changed.
from what I've always interpreted it as she went to Wonderland one time or two times, and then she keeps having that dream replay, aka that memory replay over and over and over again. But I don't know if it's like, I don't know.
But I think it is an interesting take nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Sean. Oh yeah, because she did. Okay, so Sean was like bringing up like all the psychological issues that they probably assumed she had because this is what in like Victoria, England. Well, in England, sometime before the mental health things really popped up, and how many things she was probably diagnosed with, and how she was probably thought to be mad and popping pills.
So, what do you think her mental illnesses would have been?
Yeah,
I was like, schizophrenic is definitely one of them.
probably hysteria. Multiple personalities. Here, Sean, I'll take
I don't know if I would say multiple
I'll
personalities
take
or not.
Casper Jr. so you can come speak on it because it looks like you have a lot of opinions.
And in the time of making going to Casper Jr., incoming Sean to the Friends of Disney podcast. Welcome back, Sean.
It's good to be back, Jonelle.
All right. Well, now
Very talk show-esque.
now for about the last 10-15 minutes, it'll be me and Sean discussing until the end of our show today. Now let's play Guess That Mental Illness.
Oh my god. No, so I definitely agree on the schizophrenia and hysteria.
I don't think multiple personalities fits the category, though.
I'm curious if they would try to diagnose like the different characters. Like when she talks about it, she talks about all these different characters. I wonder if they would, because remember, this is back before, not you, this is if we were thinking back with like all the lack of research that they have done at this point,
Mm-hmm.
they'd probably assume that these different characters talking about are just different alters of herself, which I know it's not multiple personality disorder anymore, it's dissociative identity disorder.
And we have much more research on it now.
and much more research on it now, but they probably would have given her that looking at the different characters. Like, what do you mean this anxious rabbit who's always late? What about these mad characters that throw tea party? Oh, a queen with anger issues? Like, there's very distinct personalities.
Dissociative. Hold up. I think this did.
It's dissociative identity disorder.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. Is characterized by two states called multiple personality disorder or characterized by personality identities, may have unique name, personal history, and characteristics.
Or the other thing, I learned about this in high school. It's something that's referred to as a fantasy based personality. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Cause a fantasy based personality refers to someone who tends to spend a significant amount of time immersed in vivid details fantasies, often daydreaming or imagining scenarios that are not grounded in reality, sometimes blurring the lines between their imagination and real life. So they'd probably say that she just has a fantasy prone personality and is like almost like merging that.
Wait, hold up. What is this called?
Called a fantasy prone or fantasy based personality.
You know what?
And it's think of what you're thinking right now, but it's an extreme. Again, the lines between imagination and real life are blurred. I couldn't read. I can't read lips. We'll talk after.
That's what I was saying.
But that would probably be something that they would also
Oh,
bring.
Alice from Alice in Wonderland has been analyzed as having paranoid schizophrenia.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, the schizophrenia was kind of a easy one
Yeah.
to notice. But
Huh.
I don't know, like, again, these aren't typical live actions versus animation. Like, this isn't a typical live action remake. Like,
It's a different retelling of of a similar story.
well, that's a weird thing. Like, I was doing some research while we were watching it. Tim Burton doesn't classify it as a sequel, but he also doesn't really classify it as a reimagining because it's its own thing.
Yeah.
Same title, same characters for the most part, but just very different. But both of them have their merits. Like, both of them are good for their own reasons. Like,
Also, just think of how the original Alice in Wonderland is over 50, like over 70 years old.
yeah, 74 years old. Because it came out in 1951. And it's still, like, is still really relevant. Like, you have this movie that came out in 2010. And it's
in Ever After. There's so many remakes of Alice.
well, and Megan brought up how it's like an Ever After High and stuff. And Once Upon a Time had Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, its own spin-off, which was a great spin-off, by the way. Sucks it only had like one season. But another thing about it is how special Alice in Wonderland is to the Walt Disney Company, because back when Walt Disney first started out, he had the Alice shorts that were before Oswald. And so you figure, like, you have the Alice shorts as part of Walt Disney's background, then you have Alice in Wonderland, the animated movie, and now we have these live action movies with all within the Disney canon. Like, it's nice seeing like how much like that follows through with everything, especially with like characters like the Mad Hatter. You see him everywhere. Like, he was such a big part of like House of Mouse and stuff. Like, and then you have like the
Casper.
and you have the ride in Disneyland that is still a really good ride as well. I don't know if they have an Alice in Wonderland ride in Disney World in Magic Kingdom. in Magic Kingdom?
To be honest, it was not my priority.
That is fair.
I had like I want to go back to Disney World 100% because there were a lot of things I missed. But I wanted to okay, my main thing was to see Cinderella.
That was your life's goal.
That was one of my bucket list items. And I got to meet Cinderella. Bucket list accomplished.
Okay,
Yes.
I just gotta say, if you're watching this on video, I'm like perfectly blocking like our munchling behind me, which is like making so the ears are like perfectly aligned behind my head.
That's funny.
If you could only watch one Alice in Wonderland, which one would it be?
Live action.
So Megan was asking if we could watch only one Alice in Wonderland. Which one would it be?
Live action. And I'm sure it'd be live action for Megan too. That was a yes, a big nod. Hi, Casper.
I think I would do. It's a hard one for me because I like both for different reasons. But I think I'm going to have to say animated. And it's just because there are things about the animated that it's just, I like. Like, I like that it's a lot of mini stories. I like the music within it. Like, the Golden Afternoon and the Mad Tea Party themes are amazing. And when it comes to music, like, I had a personal triumph when I finally rediscovered this song back in towards the end of high school. The song that Avril Lavigne wrote for the live action Alice in Wonderland. It took me forever to find that song because I didn't know the name of it. I didn't know how to find it.
Okay, can
And
we
it
go on
made
that
me
song
so
for just
happy.
a hot minute before? I was like, can we go on that song for just a hot minute before we end the podcast for the day? How Twilight that song sounded.
What do you mean how Twilight that sounded?
Da, 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 da.
Are you thinking of 1,000 Years from
No.
Twilight? Or like, what do you mean
No.
by Twilight?
Okay. Yes. Because Twilight has a lot of their songs have that similar.
I would have to rewatch Twilight because
You need to.
I don't get Twilight vibes from that, especially not when you hit into the lyrics.
Oh.
Where they literally talking about Wonderland.
Yeah, no, I 100% get Twilight vibes every time I hear that song. And I start thinking in between the second and third movie of Twilight. But I also rewatch Twilight every week.
I've never been a Twilight fan, except for the last movie.
Hey, I like sparkly vampires.
Yeah. Well, and we're pretty much done with talking about Alice in Wonderland, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, friends, this was a great wrap on
It was, yeah.
on Alice in Wonderland. But in the comments, please let us know which one was your favorite and why.
And don't forget to subscribe and check us out on Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, all the things.
We're back on TikTok, guys.
Bye,
And
friends.
we didn't have to buy $1,000 phone for it.
Yeah. Bye, friends.
Bye.